What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to New York Down South. This is your host, Ray Diaz. Happy to have you back here with us. Lots to uncover today. Lots to go through today. Thank the good Lord we made it to the All-Star break. Actually, on a positive note, which if you were to ask me a couple weeks ago, probably wouldn't have said that, but on a positive note. So finally made it to the All-Star break. So going to talk a little Yankees here. Got training camp starting here pretty soon this weekend, I believe. So I'm going to dive into some Giants things. And then I'm going to have an opportunity here to just glaze Jalen Brunson one more time. So lots to get into today, lots to talk about. But I think the forefront of any New Yorker's mind right now, if you're a Yankees fan at least, is the New York Yankees. Man, last time we spoke, we needed to at least split the series. I thought if we lost that series, that was it. It was going to be the Rays division, Rays American League, and we were going to be in a wild card spot, having to play those 3 games, and Lord knows that's a crapshoot. And before I even kind of get into the series, it did start off with Cam Schlitler just being the stopper that we need him to be. There's those rare players in baseball, any sport, when things are not going good, bad runs or ugly games, that there's just those guys that just can stop the bleeding, just stop it. And last week, Cam Schlitler stopped the bleeding. He absolutely stopped the bleeding. To go into that game and just put on that performance and just give us a chance to win that first game, I think it just says so much about the kind of player he is and who we think of him as an athlete. And the Cam Schlitler stock in my book has just continued to go upwards. We'll get to more on him later, but to come out in that first game and just put out a dominant performance like that when we needed him the most, not have to use our bullpen, I mean, having a guy that you can just rely on like that is just so special. Then the next 2 games happened, and those next 2 games, it started to get ugly again, and I was just like, damn it, I can't believe this. And luckily it was a 4-game series, and we were able to split it in the very last game on Sunday. So there was a lot of concerns. I felt like in that series too, especially the 2 games we lost, tons of concerns for me that just have really been happening all year. There's guys in our rotation that I really trust right now. There's guys in our rotation that I don't trust. And I think the conversation becomes now, and my big take on this really is, now that we are at the All-Star break, feeling good about the Nats series, feeling okay about the Rays series, for us is really kind of like, what are you going to do, Cashman? What are you going to do to enhance this team? I think it really all relies on that. So the fact that we were able to go in, take two from the Rays, split it, and now we're only, I believe, 3.5 games back from Tampa Bay. I think if we can come out of the All-Star break and come to the trade deadline within striking distance, I think we can catch them. But unfortunately, what we're also holding our breath for is Aaron Judge's reimaging that's happening here. I'll go ahead and say it. If he's not back, I'm waving the white flag on the season. Him specifically. Frieder didn't come back, that's one thing. But if the captain does not come back, I think it's another lost season for us. And I just don't picture how we go to get to a World Series, let alone win it. But with that being said, I mean, I'm going to remain positive that he's going to be able to come back. Even if he comes back in September, which I would be fine with. Give him a month to ramp up. I think that's plenty of time to get him right for the playoffs. And this team needs to be able to learn to win without him. I always go back to 2023. We were having a great start to the year. Awesome. Judge was playing great. We get to the Dodgers series, and he breaks his freaking toe out in LA on the stupid concrete wall in right field. And we crumbled. We just crumbled. We didn't stand a single chance. And that team just wasn't good enough. It was poorly constructed roster. And that team just didn't stand a chance without him. And again, another just mark on Cashman right now. Baseball is one of those games where, yes, Aaron Judge is incredible. But just because he goes down, the entire season cannot crumble. If you are that reliant on one player, you have not built a good roster. You have not built a good roster. And you could talk all you want about protection in the lineup and all that good stuff. That's not a quantifiable stat. Yes, protection in the lineup is a thing. I do believe that. But to sit there and have one player go down and then you just completely and utterly fall apart, it's just unacceptable. It's just unacceptable. Now, this year is completely different from that 2023 team. Yes, this team is highly flawed this year. Yes, there's a ton we need to fix. But I do think this team is definitely better than that 2023 team. And I think we're going to, I think they have a chance to learn how to win without Judge and do it. And boy, did they go into that Nats series and prove that they could win. They proved that they could win. And, you could say what you want about the Nationals right now, but before that weekend, they were above 500 team, scary offense, they're a good team. They're fighting for an NL wildcard spot. They're a good team. And the fact that we were able to go into D.C., into the nation's capital, and come out there with the sweep before the All-Star break, that gave me a good feeling. Now, I'll caveat that with, I understand they were all comebacks. I understand where we really did most of our damage was against that bullpen, and that bullpen is the worst bullpen in baseball. But listen, and that's something that needs to be addressed, but you can't, you got to take some of the positive here. I think if you're a Yankee fan and you're feeling negative about that today, like, what are we doing? Like, that is a high quality series win against a solid team. So our starting pitchers did what they needed to do. Some of our bigger bats, Ben Rice, beautiful sign, started to get hot again. Paul Goldschmidt finally broke his 0 for 1,000 stretch. Bellinger showed some good signs. So, I think we have to get some of those guys going. And if it takes a series like this where we're coming back against the bullpen, you take that. You take that all day, twice on Sunday. You take it, you take it, you take it, you take it, you take it. So I was very happy to see that. And I think with, we're going to have a tough series when we come back. So we absolutely needed to pile off some wins. And the Dodgers, I believe, are coming off a sweep against the Diamondbacks. So we absolutely needed to run off some wins there before the All-Star break because we have a tough series back at the stadium against the Dodgers. So, but, going into this All-Star break and another Cam Schlitler glaze session, the fact that he is got the nod to be the all-star starter and is skipping it because he knows he's going to have to pitch against the Dodgers. I mean, what's not to love about this guy? This is the kind of guy that you want on your team. This guy just, you hear people say, this guy just gets it. This guy just gets it. This guy just gets it. He does. He gets it. He's so about the pinstripes. He's so about his job. He is the bona fide Cy Young winner in my eyes right now for the American League. And I think this is a guy with, Garrett Cole in the rotation when Max Fried comes back can be the leader of this rotation and take us to some good places if Judge comes back and if we can make some moves at the deadline. But, with that trade deadline approaching, even though we, split that series against Tampa Bay, won those 3 in a row, there's still just some of the glaring issues that have, again, just continued to be the glaring issues. I hate saying this guy's name at this point because I just want him off our team. To me, he is Joey Gallo, he is Jacoby Ellsbury, he's Aaron Hicks, and that's just Anthony Volpe. I just want him gone. If there was any way possible to upgrade that position even a little bit, I would take it in a heartbeat. If we had to pay someone to take Anthony Volpe, I would take him in a heartbeat. And it's not even to the point that, like, he's just one of those guys for me right now. He's officially just joined that list that I've just said of just guys that just, like, they are losing players. I firmly believe that, and they're just not going to turn it around here. Playing in New York, playing for the Yankees specifically, that jersey is just so heavy. I mean, there's plenty of guys that have come here. Look what Sonny Gray is doing with the freaking Boston Red Sox right now. He's crushing it. He even years ago when we got him at the trade deadline, he was in his prime, and he was horrible with us. Horrible. Just usually guys, when they don't succeed here, it just doesn't happen for them. It's tough because the noise and the fans are just brutal. We're brutal fans. We are not going to let you get away with playing terrible defense and not hitting your weight, So, Anthony Volpe needs to be addressed. The catcher position, I know Wells had, a nice home run against the Nationals this weekend. He's just got to go. He's got to go. He cannot be we cannot expect to win a World Series with Wells as our catcher. It'd be irresponsible for us to go forward with him as our starting catcher if we're serious about, making a World Series run with Brian Cashman. I mean, I've questioned his seriousness about wanting to win a World Series for a little while now. And then the bullpen is the bullpen. Bednar's fantastic, but beyond that, there's just question marks up and down. It's scary. Every time our starters come out of the game, I just don't know what's going to happen. So we need to get at least 2 or 3 arms from outside our walls in there, and figure that out. But yeah, when Judge does come back, though, if we can address those at the trade deadline, I believe in this team. I do. I believe in this team. I believe we can make some noise. I definitely still think, even with as terrible as we've been this past month, we're still second place in the American League. The American League is a disaster. It's a disaster. And we're still in second place. We're still in second place. And I think we can go on an absolute tear, and we want to go on that tear, late August, September, going into October, but it's really going to start with Brian Cashman. If Brian Cashman does not do what needs to be done by any means necessary to improve this roster as best as possible this year, we will not win, and we will simply just be wasting another year of Aaron Judge's prime. And that's it. Dude, Judge just got a rib injury. We don't know how much longer he's going to be good, man. We might have another 3 years of this, maybe, and to not take big swings, knowing that that's the case, especially knowing that, we do have a great pitching staff. We do have, some guys that have been playing, we just got to go for it. We just got to go for it. This is the year. This is the year to go for it because the American League is so weak. There is no team in the American League that scares me as of today. Not even the Rays, even though they've kicked our ass most of this year and they just split with us. That we are better than that team. We are better than that team. Record doesn't say it right now, but we are better than the Tampa Bay Rays. If we don't go for it this year, that is just the ultimate indictment on Brian Cashman. And if we don't get it done this year, then, what I've been talking about for, the better part of the past couple months of, getting rid of Boone, getting rid of Cashman, restarting this thing, and getting someone in who we can win with. We just haven't won with these guys. We just haven't won with these guys in so long. And it sucks because even if Cashman does go all in at this trade deadline, which that's another thing too, and we're going to see on Aaron Judge this week, but if Aaron Judge is not coming back this year, I don't know if we'll go all in, which makes sense because it's one of those things where it's like, why would we go all in if our best player isn't going to be there to carry us? Now, there's that train of thought of Aaron Judge does crumble in the playoffs a lot, and, we can't always lean on him. So if we can show that we can just be great without him, who knows? Maybe Cashman still, puts all the chips in the middle of the table and goes for it, even though we might not get him back this year. But so much of our season just rides on Judge coming back because he is our captain. He is the guy that we do lean on. I think it's great that we've been able to stay above water, even in a terrible American League, that we've been able to stay above water even without him because this team needed to learn how to win without him. Ben Rice needs to learn how to hit home runs and hit for average without that protection. Cody Bellinger needs to know how to hit home runs and hit for average without that protection. Goldschmidt needs to hit without that protection. Chisholm, Trent, everybody in the lineup needs to learn to hit without the protection of Aaron Judge. They just need to do it. They need to do it. And maybe this is that, monumental moment. This past crappy month has been that monumental moment where, the hardest time of the season, we've grinded it out, put ourselves in a position to win the American League, and Judge comes back and it all comes full circle. But yeah, again, a lot of this also does just ride on Judge coming back. So this midseason collapse, we can't look at, the Yankees cannot continue to look at it as, this stuff happens, that's baseball. We need to look at it as we're a good team, but there's areas of improvement, and there is. And with the trade deadline approaching, I need to see what Cashman does, and I need to see what Cashman does. And also, we just need to get healthy, man. We just need to get healthy. Aaron Judge isn't the only one we need coming back full strength. We need Max Fried coming back. We need Rodon coming back. I mean, we need these guys if we are going to have a chance. Health is going to be everything for us. We need Stanton back. We need that other boomer in the lineup who can come in and smack a home run. Even though it's interesting now, with Goldschmidt, well, he hasn't been playing well, but he was majority of the season until this past just horrific slump that he's been on. But maybe Stanton coming back will give him a break, and Goldie and him switching out in that DH spot in the postseason. I don't hate that. Goldie's going to give you professional at bats, even in his older age here, But we need to get healthy, and we need to have a big trade deadline, and Brian Cashman cannot drop the ball. I think another thing that I didn't really address as far as kind of the trade deadline is coming along is, do we acquire another pitcher? Do we go in and acquire Skubal? The Detroit Tigers aren't doing that well, and he's having a great year. Do they get the most out of it while we can? We know they're not going to pay him. If we do, they're not going to be able to build their team. He's going to demand a lot of money. Do we go ahead and just, make the best part of our team so far even better? Because, again, kind of similar to Judge, Max Fried comes back and that's great, but, Max Fried, getting hurt's kind of part of his game. It is part of his game. And so if we can go into a playoff series and our rotation is Cole, Schlitler, Skubal, and Fried, that is a winning rotation. That is a winning, World Series winning rotation. Because with those guys, if those are the four, that you're rolling with in the playoffs, I mean, which, I got to, you have to have a lot of faith, but if you put up 3 runs should do it. 3 runs should do it if you have those four in a playoff rotation. Now, our offense has been freaking atrocious. So, again, that's where the if comes in of like, I don't know sometimes if this team can score 3 runs, but, at the same time, you do have to have that faith that, our hitting will be better in the playoffs and we'll make some adjustments. Cashman will make some adjustments as well to get better bats in the lineup. But, yeah, I don't know. If I'm sitting here and we're talking about, putting all the chips in the table, like just pushing that thing all the way in, Tariq Skubal, for me as a Yankee fan, would be a sign of that. That would be the ultimate sign that Cashman is doing everything he can to win a World Series. That is a move that if in the offseason, if it doesn't work out on top of, him getting bullpen, some catcher, whatever, that'll show me that he did his job. That'll show me that. So we'll see. Again, you're really just happy. Really just happy that we were able to make it to the All-Star break on a positive note. Usually, we're kind of crawling to the All-Star break, and I felt like we were able to sprint to the All-Star break. So with this last two-game series here. So, yeah, big series over the weekend against the Dodgers. Definitely be watching all 3 of those. Excited for those matchups. You always get excited when it's Dodgers-Yankees. I don't care, if you are not a fan of either of those teams. That is, a premier matchup in the sport. It is primetime television when those two teams go against each other. So, we'll definitely be, keeping up for that, but also be watching Ben Rice in the home run derby, hoping he wins. He's had a great year, 29 home runs so far till the break. Hoping he can smack a lot more before the season ends. He's and keep that going into the playoffs. But rooting for him in the derby, which is tonight. So I'll be definitely watching that and seeing how he does. So, yeah, enjoy the All-Star break. I will say, my take on the All-Star break, I definitely think it's probably All-Star games are just dead right now. They're just freaking dead. I mean, the NBA All-Star game is a freaking joke. The dunk contest is a freaking joke. The Pro Bowl, I don't even think the Pro Bowl happens anymore. But even before, that was always a joke. The MLB All-Star game, and see, now I'm thinking about the Four Nations for the NHL. That might be the best All-Star break thing. But between the Four Nations and the MLB All-Star game, those are like 2 legitimate, great weekends in sports, especially during the summertime. Luckily we're being saved by, the World Cup right now. And, but even that ends on Sunday. It is just, these July and August months really until September, until college and professional football start are just brutal. So, the All-Star game, helps out a little bit with that. But, we also have had soccer, so we've been spoiled. So now we'll only have to go a couple weeks without, boringness in sports. So definitely be tuning into that, and I'm excited to hear about the outcome. But, transitioning into that football conversation, training camp starts this week for most teams. Been hearing some interesting things coming out of Giants camp. One thing I think that's been top of mind in the Harbaugh era and that I've heard is that Harbaugh is running a lot more intense practices, which there's always that conversation for me of why some of these teams, like we talk about the Mets, we talk about the Jets, Giants recently, we talk about the Knicks. It is so hard to change a losing culture. It is so freaking hard. As an outside sports observer, sports fan, changing culture is the hardest thing. We talk about the Mets. They're having an abysmal season. And I've spoken to my Mets fans' friends, and I've told them even before the season starts, I'm just like, dude, this might be honestly, but when the season started, I thought this Mets team was the best Mets team on paper I've seen in my lifetime. Yeah. Yeah, I stand by that statement. It is the best Mets team we've seen on paper in this lifetime. I mean, from Bo Bichette to Juan Soto to Lindor to Vientos, Luis Robert at the beginning of the season, Freddie Peralta, Francisco Alvarez. I mean, it is. In my humble opinion, it is. And I know the Mets went to the World Series, in 2015 against the Royals. This team, and they had an amazing starting rotation, which is, everything, clearly. But, their lineup in the field, I mean, is one of the best lineups for them on paper that I can remember, genuinely. And they are still embarrassingly bad. Embarrassingly bad. They're terrible. They are still just the Mets. And I don't even mean to troll, because there's no hatred for me towards the Mets. I have no disdain towards the Mets. I hope the Mets do well, even as a Yankees fan. I know that's like sacrilege. I hope the Mets do well. I've been wanting a Subway Series since forever. I want an all New York World Series, and that can't happen unless they get there too. And now I want us to kick their ass when that happens, but I have but they are just so bad still. And there is just something to be said about culture. And so going back to my Giants, I'm hearing that there's these intense practices that Harbaugh's running, and that has me so excited. I don't want it to be I hope it's not like Tom Thibodeau wearing them out. I really hope that's not the case, but we have a team of young guys, man. We have a team of some young guys. So, for me, hearing that, practices are getting tough there, not even in training camp yet, I think that is something that sets culture. That is something that can be something we look at, God willing, in October, November, and the Giants have a good record, and we can point to that and be like, yeah, that was something that changed the culture. Players definitely help change the culture, and just good players with good mindset and that work hard. And I think the same thing with coaches too. I mean, I said not to be Tom Thibodeau, but look what happened with the Knicks. Look what happened with the Knicks. Tom Thibodeau took over, completely changed that culture. Completely changed it. And then Jalen Brunson came in, and, we got the rest of these guys, and the rest is history. But, it started with, that tough-nosed coach and some tough-nosed players to follow, So, and I think in football especially, where, coaches are calling plays and coaches have schemes, I think, that is, the coaching is the most impactful there. But it's still, that's why I want the Yankees to get rid of Aaron Boone. It's because we have a culture of being just fine, not going all the way. It's culture, man. It is culture. And I know people are like, oh, culture's BS. When you win, you create culture. But, no shit. Winning cures all, right? And, I'm not saying I need, this team to be the culture kings and everything, but it does start from the very beginning. It starts with players, and then it also starts with good leadership and accountability and changing things up from the status quo. So for me, I am excited to see what Harbaugh does, and I just cannot wait for football to kick off. I'm enjoying my summer so much, and I always do, but it's one of those things that football's just awesome. It's just awesome, and I love my New York Giants so much, and I want them to be good so badly. And the thing I felt with the Knicks, I want to feel that with my Yankees and Giants and Rangers again also. But yeah, training camp should be exciting, and I can't wait to tune in when that happens. I know there's going to be some, as far as Giants training camp goes, some good offensive line competition, a cornerback battle, and I think there's going to be some starting jobs that are really up for grabs, and I'm interested to see what happens. I felt like we just had such a great draft that I feel like we just have enough I still think there's plenty of holes. This is far from a perfect team, but I think we have enough young talent with moxie and confidence that we can overcome some of those holes we have and then really start to freaking build this thing out into an absolute juggernaut, consistent winner. So, with that being said, training camp, not too far away, and I'm very excited about that. But, kind of rounding it out here, just wanted to do some Knicks talk here, and I needed to. I just gotta glaze him again. I gotta glaze Jalen Brunson. I think by now everyone's heard the news that he has had off-season wrist surgery. That's going to keep him out for 2 months. This man won an NBA championship with an injury that required him to get surgery and to be out 2 months. Surgery. 2 months. NBA champ. What can you say about this guy? What can you say about Jalen Brunson that hasn't been said already? Dude is a freaking warrior. That dude has the Mamba mentality. It's the Brunson mentality. It's just adding to the aura at this point. It's aura farming is what he's doing. Are you kidding me, bro? Are you kidding me? After we won, I kind of had that mentality of like, man, he's going to raise that banner and, anything he does afterwards will be good, whatever happened. To quote Mikal Bridges, PG rated, if you don't think this dude is ready for another championship run, you guys don't know JB. That dude that fought through a wrist injury that required surgery. I'll say it again. Wrist injury that required surgery for him that would keep him out for 2 months. If you don't think that guy, the guy that needed wrist surgery and then dropped buckets on the Spurs all series long, if you don't think that dude is not going to be ready for another run or is not going to want to raise another banner in MSG, you got another thing coming. And if you don't believe that, whether you're a Knicks fan, Knicks hater or not, you're just a liar. You're lying to yourself. This dude is a bona fide baller. He is just a baller. I don't care how small he is. I don't care how not fast he is. I don't care how big his head is. That dude is a stud. So I just had to shout out Jalen Brunson one more time because, the dude just... again, he's just aura farming at this point. It doesn't matter. You could tell me that he was playing with, a collapsed lung the entire, playoffs, and I'd believe it. The dude is just a freaking baller. That dude, I'm saying that dude's going to be ready for another run. And I'm like, I'm already missing Knicks basketball, and I was just talking about how I'm missing football, and I'm ready for football to get back. I'm already missing Knicks basketball. Which is a crazy statement because I don't think I've missed Knicks basketball since a couple years ago. I miss Knicks basketball. I miss this team. I miss OG. I miss Josh. I miss Mikal. I miss Kat. I miss this team. And this team, once he comes back, you can't tell me that they're not poised for another run. You just can't do it. I know the East changed a little bit. I know Jaylen Brown went to the Sixers, and the Sixers are going to be a threat. I'm not, saying we're going to walk over them, but they don't have JB. They do have JB. They don't have our JB, though, the better one, Jalen Brunson. They don't have Jalen Brunson. So, just shout out to him, man. Just shout out to freaking Jalen Brunson. So, last thing to cover, New York Rangers, lots of moves. I think we talked about that last time. not too much of an update there. Love everything they've done. It's the only team right now that I was just like is down in the dumps that needs to get like up, 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 up. But I'm feeling positive about everything else, and I think you should be too. It's been tough with the Yankees, and I think we're hard on the Yankees right now too because of what just happened with the Knicks, and it was hard from going like feeling so confident and feeling so dominant with the Knicks to like now going back to like these damn Yankees, like this is terrible. But keep it positive, everybody. Keep it positive. Good things are coming. Good things. Envision it. Envision a World Series trophy. Envision Judge coming back. Put it out there in the universe. Put it out there in the universe. It's going to happen. But that's the end of our show today. Appreciate it. I will keep you all updated as things come along. But if you liked my show, please like and subscribe. And I look forward to talking to you all next week. Peace.